Re-Envisioning Foster Care means taking a different look at foster care, looking at it from a different perspective, especially the youth perspective, and seeing how we can make a better change for foster youth. The system has been broken for many years now, and we do have youth voice that's very strong and powerful. So we want our youth to speak up and have the opportunity to speak up so they can make these changes. We have a lot of youth who are tremendous and they want to make changes. They have the ability to do so. So having these people speak up and seeing their vision in foster care would be, the best thing for the nation, is to change it using the youth voice.
And for me, I would echo the same thing. Definitely engaging the youth component. I myself was adopted when I was 14, came in, went to foster care when I was 10, and I didn't feel like I knew what the foster care system even was. I mean, I was told I was in foster care and I knew it meant that I wasn't with my birth mother anymore, but that was it. It was just a terrifying experience, and I just went from place to place to place until people told me, what I was supposed to be doing. By place, I mean like therapy to my mentoring or back home. I was fortunate to only have one actual foster home though. And so I had a lot of great wraparound services that made the experience a lot easier for me to adjust to, but I still didn't quite understand what that meant. And so when I was moved to my adoptive placement, it put back a lot of that trauma that I had had before coming into care, because I thought that the place I was my permanent home. And so as I do this work now, it's really about engaging the youth and having them use their voice and having them say, this is what would work for me in the system, and this isn't what works for me. I want a family that meets these criteria. I want a family that's culturally competent, a family that looks like me, someone that I can blend in with. I really want to be normal. Things like that. And really making the foster care system a pit stop and not just like this service or this place where youth get stuck in. I've met youth that have come in at birth and have aged out of the system, and that is ridiculous to me. It should be a place of healing and getting them back to permanency, whether that be with their biological family or with an adoptive permanent resource.
I personally don't have an experience with foster care, so to me, to bear witness to the stories of the folks around me is really powerful. And when I think of re-envisioning foster care in America, the first thing that pops into my mind is a gentleman that does a lot of volunteering with us, who's in his 70s, who aged out of foster care at the age of 17. And he sat down with me a few months ago and he said, you know what, Chris? These are the same things they were trying to figure out 50 years ago when I was in foster care. So when I think about it, I'm like, we have this system that just keeps going in its own cycle, going in its own circles, and it's not making progress, it's not making change. And it's our job to say, wait a minute, let's just start from scratch. Let's re-envision it from the beginning, because we can't keep doing the same tired stuff over and over, because it's clearly not working. And that's why I'm here. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I really think it is about the healing. I think we kind of lost track about what the foster care system is, and about allowing those opportunities for youth to heal, for our children to heal, and to be able to go on and succeed. And I think that's why we are all here to do this, because we know that this is a great way for them to be able to succeed. But finding those services and figuring out what the best programs are and the best practices are, I think that's what we need to re-envision. What does that look like for our kids?
There are so many organizations out there that have this idea and this concept, this whole movement. They're on board. We're on this movement to change foster care. But, because we're in different parts of the nation, there needs to be a way for all of us to get together and make that change together. We all have this vision of a better foster care system. And, eventually, I'm sorry, I want to work social workers out of jobs. I want you to not have a job eventually. I'm sorry, but, you might have to go back to school. But in the end result, we want their youth to have permanent connections, whether it be, adoptive, or your coach, or a person from your church, or your teacher, anyone, and to stop this cycle of abuse and neglect. Just the way we look at it, and we don't want other people to look at us like, oh, you're in foster care, oh, I'm so sorry for you. No, we're strong, we're resilient. We want them to have a different look at us and want to join with us to make sure that America looks at us differently, and they are behind us in making these changes.
And that's one of the exciting things about re-envisioning foster care, is it's a community collaboration. Recognizing that systems, governments cannot raise children. They're horrible at it. That's not what they're designed for. Communities raise children. So how do we help the community get together and bolster support and wrap around and connect so that we can re-envision the lack of a foster care system. Because kids can stay in their communities, maybe not in their homes, but in their communities, and they can stay connected. And to me, that would be the perfect outcome for all of this.
And that's what the kids want. I mean, they want to stay in the places that they've grown up, even though the atmospheres might not have been the healthiest. They know the routine, they know the people, and they just kind of want to stick with that and not get dragged into an unknown place where they end up having kind of the same experience of being left alone and having no one.